grass. Originally known as Watertown Strip in 1955, after CIA Director Allen Dulles' hometown, the growing base was later dubbed Paradise Ranch, now simply the Ranch. The 575 square mile rectangle of land was officially designated Area 51 outside the control of our 50 states by the Atomic Energy Commission in June 1958. The Area 51 control tower identifies itself as Dreamland in radio communications and warns off all aircraft from flying over the box, its forbidden airspace known officially as R4808N. Some insiders have even dubbed Area 51 the dark side of the moon. The town of Rachel, Nevada, with its population of just around 200 people, is known for the Little Alien restaurant, complete with its own UFO video and book library for patrons and visitors from all corners of the world. Just to the west of Rachel is a back gate guard entrance to the Nellis Bombing and Gunnery Range, 8 million acres large, inside whose boundaries is Area 51. The townsfolk of Rachel can see the 9,000-foot bald mountain peak just to the south, which is capped with an observation and communications facility directly connected with Area 51. Highway 375 runs through Rachel and along the northeastern perimeter of restricted land, which was officially dedicated in the mid-1990s as the Extraterrestrial Highway, a twisting 98-mile stretch of single-lane road, absent of gasoline stations anywhere. Amid the Joshua trees and cactus and tumbleweeds of Tikaboo Valley lives a generations-old cattle ranching family. The ranchers are known for their famous black mailbox, which marks the commencement of a dirt road between mileposts 29 and 30 that leads toward their ranch, and also towards Groom Lake just beyond to the southwest. A little farther southeast on Highway 375, between mileposts 34 and 35, Groom Lake Road begins its trail across the desert floor of Tikaboo Valley toward Jumbled Hills. Almost every morning, buses with blacked-out windows carrying Area 51 workers speed along to the top-secret facilities by way of the Groom Lake Road. The perimeter of Area 51 shares a border with the Yucca Flat region of the Nevada Test Site, where over 900 atomic tests have been conducted since 1951. Beginning in July 1962, all its atomic detonations were exploded underground, but for what purpose remains unclear. The Area 51 land is managed by the 99th Air Base Wing at Nellis Air Force Base. However, Area 51 is also an adjunct to Edwards Air Force Base Flight Test Center, which appears to have control of operations at Groom Lake. And just 40 miles southwest of Groom Lake is the Yucca Mountain Nuclear Storage Facility. Groom Lake is a dry salt lake located in Emigrant Valley, north of the Papoose Mountain Range, and Area 51 is on Groom Lake's southern shore. In 1995, federal land grabs have expanded the scope of the base and eliminated certain mountaintop viewing spots for civilians, including Whitesides Mountain and Freedom Ridge, despite substantial public outcry. Intruders are subject to the use of deadly force, which was supposedly authorized under the terms of the 1950 McCarran Internal Security Act. Enforcing security are hired personnel from Wackenhut and Sandia security companies, along with a contingent of Navy SEALs and Delta Force. Black Hawk and Sikorsky helicopters, Jeeps and Humvees patrol constantly, seeking out intruders using every technology at their disposal. The ranch, as insiders know it, is the most protected known base on the planet's surface, and its personnel are required to take a lifetime oath of secrecy. Area 51 is likely run by the United States Navy, even while it appears the Air Force maintains operations out of Edwards Air Force Base in California. The radar facilities always have at least one radar pointed straight up to monitor the skies above, as it is well known that modern satellites from foreign nations can see through topsoil with synthetic aperture radar and infrared imaging to detect tunnels below the surface. Strangely, due to the Open Skies Treaty of March 24, 1992, member countries signing the treaty are allowed to use satellites to take photos of the Area 51 base in exchange for the U.S. being allowed to spy on other treaty-signing nations' top-secret facilities. Participating countries include the Soviet republics, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, the United Kingdom, Turkey, Ukraine, Norway, Denmark, Poland, and Romania. Ironically, the American taxpayers that foot the bills for Area 51 are not allowed any information regarding Area 51, even those Americans who have suffered chemical contamination working at Area 51, for court cases seeking due compensation for their injuries. Incoming flights come from several key installations, all directed by the control tower, situated about 1/4 mile northeast of an enormous 100-foot tall hangar, suspected of housing a giant elevator that can lower heavy tonnage aircraft down to a vast underground complex below. Along with Area 51, Bechtel controls Los Alamos, Lawrence Livermore, and a host of the most sensitive nuclear weapons facilities for the U.S. Department of Energy. Defining the word cronyism, the Bechtels have lorded over White House political decision-making for decades, especially administrations headed by Nixon, Reagan, Bush Sr., Clinton, and Bush Jr. It was Bechtel that was awarded the no-bid contract for Hurricane Katrina relief. Bechtel is where our tax dollars go to die. George Shultz and Caspar Weinberger are Bechtel alums, and so are former NATO Supreme Allied commanders. Among Bechtel's many major construction projects are countless oil platforms, refineries, and pipelines, including the Alaska Pipeline, and countless tracks of railroad, including the entire BART urban transit system in San Francisco. Bechtel and its partners built the Hoover Dam project and the ARCO experimental breeder reactor, which produced the first ever electric power from a nuclear source, leading to Bechtel gathering the largest contracts for the biggest nuclear power plants worldwide. Unfortunately, numerous hazardous waste violations, ballooning profits in Boston's Big Dig, outrageous behavior in the reconstruction of Iraq, inciting Bolivians to riot against Bechtel, which was trying to privatize the water supply, and membership in the Trilaterals, the Council on Foreign Relations, and the Bohemian Grove has not endeared Bechtel to the vast population of tax-paying Americans. In terms of financial transparency, Bechtel is not. As a private, multinational corporation with a jaw-dropping list of subsidiaries, Bechtel is much more opaque than all publicly held multinationals, having no need to go public for money. Only big oil money like Avery Rockefeller's money is capable of behaving like this. Now Bechtel wants control of the world's fresh water supplies. Bolivia told Bechtel, no way in hell. The control tower ushers in the Janet facility flights operated by EG&G from Las Vegas' McCarran International Airport, but personnel are also purportedly brought in from Lockheed's Skunk Works facilities in Palmdale, from Lawrence Livermore Laboratory in San Francisco, and from Los Alamos National Laboratories in New Mexico. Area 51's main runway is 30,000 feet long, nearly 6 miles, which when compared to runways where the space shuttle lands, which are barely half that size at 3 miles, makes Area 51's runway seem extreme. Area 51's southern hangars have held the A-12 Oxcart and the SR-71 Blackbird, and likely craft much more exotic. The northern hangars, or Red Hat hangars, house what is dubbed captured foreign technology, which is disassembled and blueprinted. Other buildings and facilities allow for on-site avionics modification, but below the buildings is a deep underground tunnel complex with tunnels 30 feet high and 70 feet wide, and what goes on there only a few brave souls have ever shared publicly. Most personnel choose to enjoy the privileges of a top-secret base. Key personnel are spoiled with lavish meals at Sam's Place, a recreational facility for members of Club Fed. Worker housing buildings are on site for lower-level personnel that live on the base. The most insidious of the dangers for the lower-level Area 51 workers was the chemical contamination from waste burned in open pits and trenches at Groom Lake. In 1994, law professor Jonathan Turley of George Washington University represented Area 51 widows of government contractors Walter Kazaa and Robert Frost and sued the Air Force and Environmental Protection Agency. Professor Turley demonstrated in court that high levels of dioxin, dibenzofuran, and trichloroethylene led to skin, liver, and respiratory failures and death in numerous Area 51 personnel.